My name is Rami Azulai and I am the VP Marketing and Sales at Orcanos. My expertise in the ALM domain as well as in the quality regulations. So today I'm going to talk to you about managing and mastering your quality records electronically. At Orcanos we make systems that support medical device development lifecycle as well as supporting the quality and regulation activities that goes under the compliance requirements. Today I'm going to talk about our flagship product QPack 7.0 that acts as a master record for all ALM and QMS operational procedures required by medical device companies such as yours. This presentation is to outcome our experience over the past 5 years working closely with the medical device industry throughout the world. We have customers in Europe, USA, and Middle East, and they are all in very progressive stage, so we have learned their growth as we go along, so starting from submission into CE and later on to the FDA and all the strains that hold them back on those points where lesson learned that we have experience with and we would like to show you today. We are at Orcanos intensively involved in the implementation of such integrated systems. So we are bringing out here best practice and case study from live customers. Due to our product nature, we are also exposed in the first level to special events such as internal and external audits and are supporting the preparation as well as the mitigation for the comments coming out after such audits. So I speak with a lot of customers as well as demonstrating to new potentials from around the world, so we know what there is out there as well as what type of challenges you have by the simple fact that you are a medical device vendor. The key to be successful is to be able to perform all the management activities but yet let systems to do the control and governance on those required processes and procedures. The amount of details and information flooding into your organization along with the people needs to be involved with it leaves no room for mistakes, and there is for a lot of companies a huge amount of consumption from resources that are valuable for the organization as well are not always available. So let's get started. I'm going to talk about the power of electronic control management, and I will show you here the concerns and the solution that our customers reported to us. Before we start, I want to talk about the business concern. These are questions that executive of every company brings up with time. Whether you are a startup or already traded company in the stock market, the shareholders are the base for your sustainability. Their goals and your goals needs to be aligned, but the work on your shoulder is much greater. Their concern is the sales, the cash flow, the innovation, etc. While your goals beyond that. There are expenses that needs to be monitored, and there are many procedures that cost a huge amount of money to be fulfilled. That's where quality becomes a financial issue. So to maximize overall wealth, you can increase revenue, sells more product, makes more products, different type of products. But what we know, there is another key way. That key way is to reduce cost. What if you are not selling? So in most cases, companies, that is set part of it, to reduce cost will reduce people. And this is not the case. So basically the question is, what quality and regulatory got to do with all of that? We're basically looking at a huge cost. In that matter, you can do a lot. You can look at efficiency of your procedures, trials that are not reaching their goals, that cost money, and now with the FDA putting more and more stress on that area, management costs, and many other topics that we will cover in this presentation. And that is the first step you want to make, to automate your quality and regulatory procedures because they cost and a lot. We're all getting down to the fact that we want to do more for less and with less. To do that, we need to break down the system and the processes into smaller pieces. That way, we can control the cost, control resources, and introduce efficiencies. And that while your company is keeping growing and evolving in any possible direction. Once again, just to use the topic in this slide, of course, with everything going on, having the quality manager in the center of all the procedures to take place and training the employees to follow them correctly and monitor the quality of their records. There is a huge amount of work to be done with many little details. That is where the power of electronic quality system comes into the picture. That is where QPack 7.0 secure your return of investment. We will get later on this ROI module our customers build for us based on their experience doing the transition from paperwork onto electronic system. The real challenge starting out when you need to work with your distributors. Until then, you are aware of the difficulties there are in the paperwork, but you believe you're too small to think about putting it all on electronic system. That is the first breaking news I wish to tell you about. It's not about your company size, it's about your culture. And for that reason, when you are smaller, it will be easier for you to endorse such system without worrying of the overhead you may think it may create on top of you. The story goes from a small group of people starting up somewhere and then getting the first prototype out, getting the CE maybe, first working with in-house resources to manage few complaints, then come to the next level. You're trying to get where the big ones are, capture a greater market, maybe going to the FDA. That is where, for the first time, start sensing the load of the quality, the details of the procedures, the complexity of regions that are far from you. So the main challenge is communication. When we first come into a new company, there are pieces of information anywhere. We find homegrown systems such as that are based on simple databases, Access for example. We find documents on spread servers that contains documents that are not controlled, neither protected or secured. Everything that needs to be controlled was printed. Documents were stored in cabinets or on people's desks. When we first build a document baseline, then we find also missing spots in the quality system, loss of documents. These documents require storage that costs money and is ever growing. You need accessibility to those files and update them as needed. That is a huge mass to track and to work with. We also find that employees are holding outdated documents, are not aware of the changes close enough to the event of the change. People use emails that are not available to all the people involved in the procedure, or flash drives are used to distribute software and control records. In some cases, we find the user using SharePoint. Again, the problem was to set up it properly, but even then, after a while, you find that the files are not organized properly and still difficult to be retrieved. What must companies do? What must we do? What we are really looking at, we need to reduce the risk of processes that are associated with achieving FDA compliance. We got to comply with the regulatory such as the FDA 21 CFR and maintain traceability between artifacts and processes. We need to streamline approval processes. We need to maximize the profitability of new and existing products. How we implement changes quickly by increasing our response to ECR and ECO. Companies need to collaborate early and often to reduce cost, to make sure that the design required is well understood by the developer and the validation people. That way we reduce rework and more validation cycles. You need to accelerate new product introduction to beat competitors by being more efficient in our program execution. You cannot hold your supplier accountable for your company quality responsibilities. So you need to collaborate with your partners and suppliers and make them aware of what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. What must companies overcome? Non-compliance processes. We have a design history records. We have design history file, training records. It also goes with there is a need for regulatory audits. Everywhere there is a possible confusion or redundant that may cause processes latency, companies need to identify and treat those areas. One of the advantages the QPack 7.0 offered to companies is the ability to build the processes into the tool so they are consistent and well executed by any possible discipline. It is very difficult to say we have a kappa and then say we have a change. Where is the change come from? How we create a traceability between two processes that needs to work together. The FDA, when it comes to an audit, is expecting to be able to present in real time the traceability metrics, to see the action level and the execution of those actions and their results. These efficiencies goes all the way up to management reviews as well. When you have a system such as QPack 7.0, you can go far with its analytics product. It will trend the kappa affected areas and will alert you on that proactively. When you are global, you have people everywhere and you want to collaborate with them. QPack 7.0 has chatting capabilities that can either be private or public in order to allow you disclosure internal discussions. The administrative work that needs to be done requires a lot of people. If you are everywhere, you have distributors. You need to achieve licenses to sell on those areas. The distributors now can have access to any information they need to certify the product in the regions of sale. FDA has changing the perspective too. They used to have the past approach of file cabins, and now they are looking for more electronic records management. They are looking into electronic submission as well. If you are looking at the past, you can see that they used to isolated units, where now they are looking more into integrated approach. Like, kappa is over there and complaints is on another location, and so on. Or if you are looking into manufacturing, how this is all integrated into a single repository. They used to focus on the 483 and warning letters, where now they expect to see the complaints built into the quality system. They want to know it's systematic. Cabins are great, correction actions are wonderful, but they need to reside one next to the other. Integrated system will do the work much better. The validation of a single system was expensive and complex. Now they are looking into single system that will simplify the validation procedures. The way things were done or are done over non-integrated system were causing delay in investigations. They want companies to have the ability to have real-time investigation. When manual work is done by paper, it is hard to identify needs for process improvements. Now that electronic systems are available, key performance indicators, KPIs, can measure processes and proactively report on them. Now, if you are looking at the QSIT model, it shows that processes are integrated. You can see the interrelationship between processes. So if that is how it is recommended by the FDA, then getting as close as you can to implement it in your organization will increase your compliance ability to the FDA. And that telling us that what we need is integrated quality system. Versus the ISO approach, where it's not clear enough, it doesn't show the interrelationships in your company. These are the modules you can find in the ISO 13485 2003. The most recent approach will be updated in the next year, so we will be able to see what will come up next from that standard. Well, now I would like to talk about the power of QPack in the medical world. But actually, it is our world, how we make it work for us. Basically, a paper-based system and converting it into QPack electronic quality system, taking out-of-the-box solution and make it work for you. Automated compliance of self-monitoring. The FDA wants to make sure, in case of crisis, you will have the 483 with the fast investigation capabilities due to fully integrated processes. So when they are looking at a customer complaint and asking about what you have done, then you can instantly show them the CAPA. You have the correction you have done and the actions that are still open and who is responsible for them. All that in QPack 7.0. Integrated processes that are all linked together with a full V&V traceability matrix are extremely important. That is all comes down to the reduce of cost for quality and regulatory. Now I'm going to talk about automation. Automated routing, the documents are being changing and forms are being filled, are all automated, routed to the right people. If something is waiting for you, email notification will be getting to you. Things are getting stuck in the process or issues that needs to be chased tail are now controlled. If something needs to be done by a certain time, the system will speed it up and escalate it. Electronic signatures according to the 21 CFR Part 11 is essential. QPack 7.0 comply with that requirement. You can stay focused on the work you need to do and less on the work other people need to do. The system will alert on threshold in case of compliance is being violated. You can take actions before something becomes a problem. So we're looking from the company standpoint of view. We found out that there are some great relationships going on between the suppliers, customers, and employees. And those relationships need to be communicated with each other, but yet need to be recorded into quality system and meet the compliance requirements. The practice shows that in many cases, the triangle is kept well by quality and compliancy are left aside. In some cases, engineers will start working on a CAPA, ordering prototypes, and no later than that, the whole thing is moving into production. Where the quality in all that story? That is where QPack 7.0 will keep you on track. The power and remote access allow you to maintain the relationships, but at the same time to allow the quality people being aware of such events. The quality people can be in the routing of the process of any critical predefined processes. There is no real need to put things in email. They have access to information they need. They can download release documents and avoid the use of obsolete documents. The QPack 7.0 becomes a central hub of communication. If you are traveling and off-site, then QPack 7.0 will give you access over our mobile application to allow you sign, submit, or view documents. Companies using QPack 7.0 have implemented the remote access in the most effective way. Customers are getting access to report complaints, service requests are being treated and communicated to other customers electronically. Software updates are distributed over our control configuration management system. Suppliers are more aware of changes that are being introduced, as well as contracts and SLA agreements. The suppliers can review and collaborate on any topic they need to be involved with. Training, which is a very important topic, is applicable both for the suppliers and the employee. You can look at a training record to see who was doing it and when. Training plan can be set up in the system and control and governance. An employee has the ability to contribute to the system more information as needed using any of the interfaces QPack 7.0 offers, from desktop to web and mobile. What you're basically running is a one global system. Everything is being centralized. Documents are controlled globally. Once again, the key thing is that you can access a real-time quality data. You do not need to prepare for reviews anymore. Why? Orcanos customers have reports running on daily basis or on event basis that helps them keep the compliance and the quality requirements at all times. When you deal with the real-time information, you do not leave too much room for late discoveries. And what we found is that people prefer to treat their work immediately if they can, without leaving it for later time. This is all working environment contributes to the overall motivation of each employee in the company, and that reduces cost. Our customer now can streamline their processes and manage complaints in their CAPA and the ECO, etc. The user of QPack allows to perform internal audit without interrupting other employees. The data is transparent to the quality people and can show them what we call pre-audit reports. Lesson learned from previous audits are implemented immediately in the system to avoid reoccurrences. QPack 7.0 comes with nice integration to several legacy tools that are common to use, such as emails, web interface, and office tools. When we are looking at the power of time and resource management, as the company grows, everybody needs help. Having centralized communication center allows the company to share ideas and knowledge and save time on reinventing the wheel. So QPack 7.0 is the data center, and all employees, customers, and suppliers are tied to this system. We can control every function that's utilizing it. That way, the company can add resource that is valuable to the company by identifying the faults in the execution of the program. So there is a lot of cost behind that description, and that cost can be reduced significantly. What are the administrative costs? Just think about the current state using paper documents, starting from explaining the document. You got to route documents, you're exchanging days on the documents back and forth, collecting training data, having training records. All that transactions and communication cost a lot of effort and money for the organization. There are many things you want to control and manage. Each employee has a piece of that management cost. So what if we can save for each employee just a bit of effort? In a few slides, we will see our ROI calculator that will show you where the real saving can come from. External audit preparation are extremely time-consuming. Besides the time invested in that effort, there is a true concern that the manual work will not cover all the corners of the quality and regulatory requirements. Everyone in the organization is involved, from top management to the last employee. Where all that leads to, you want to increase efficiency, plus reducing costs associated with time. Time is money. So here are some realistic opportunities we have found from the past 5 years working in the medical device domain. Here are some realistic opportunities that we found in our projects in the past 5 years, and also from evidence that we got from customers. So I will go through that really quickly, but just to emphasize that we did manage to get those numbers, and these seems to be very impressive numbers. So time search for navigation for data that is saved by having that centralized repository and a very advanced search capabilities has opportunity for 45% in reduction. Time managing programs and projects, 25% in reduction through transparency of activities that are not related just to the actual item that you are working on. Personal avoidance and reallocation between 10 to 20% avoidance of reallocation. Cost of regulatory certification, which is impressive, 30% in reduction, because most of the pre-audit alerts helping us to prepare ourselves for those certification. Cost of regulation industry audit, 50% in reduction, which was really the highest cost saving that we got from the system. And cost managing corrective action, which actually part of the collaborative environment that we have with the QPack as a centralized repository for all stakeholders and people that are participating in the project. So we got corrective actions avoidance of 22% reduction and loss of sales, along with improve of new product introduction throughput. We got a 25% improvement. Now, in a good times of company, those numbers are less attractive, but when the things are getting slow and sales are getting slow, there are really, really significant possibilities and opportunities here to help the company invest in cost saving and not in manpower saving. So maintain the intellectual property, maintain the knowledge that you got with the people, the training that you got with them, and try to avoid reduction in people and increase the reduction in cost. Here is one example. Taking average cost of an employee is about $100 per hour, including the overhead and everything. So we are reducing the document control personnel that's worth about $208,000 a year. You do not need document control department like many other companies anymore. So if you are able to save 15 minutes a day on each employee based on the opportunities we mentioned before, you can reach about $6,250 saving each year. Having about 25 employees, which is about the time you wish to start implementing maybe such system, that adds up quickly to about $125,000 a year almost. So if you are a larger scale company, then that will take you for 100 employees, it will save you about $625,000 a year. Now, this is not a pocket money anymore. In other cases, you may get up to 1 hour a day saving, and that gets you to $25,000 saving each year. Those are maybe only certain type of employees, but we found out that there are not only few. Very quickly, you can get to about $600,000 saving on 25 employees and about $2.5 million saving for 100 employees. Having said that, QPack 7.0 can turn your organization into a very well lubricated machine with very little place for faults, but at the same time it improves quality of work as well quality of life at work by spending only the necessary effort needed to fulfill each employee commitments for quality.